up? Welcome back to Texas Platinum. Like and subscribe. Tom Herman, you absolutely suck. You are an embarrassment to our alma mater right now, our beloved university, to roll that team out against Oklahoma, our rivals. Just unprepared, no fight, up against the ropes, and we laid a big fat egg. So there's a lot to talk about. It's looking like Tom Herman's days are numbered in Austin, and we'll get all into that. But start off with Trevor. Trevor, how'd you feel watching that game Saturday?
Disgusted, hopeless, glad that I wasn't there for the first time ever that I've watched this great rivalry game. Especially after it went into 4 overtimes. I was like, man, I feel really bad for all those fans because it was a hot day. A lot of people said that the weather was nice. I mean, I guess it was nice, but sunny and sitting in the Cotton Bowl for 6 hours or however long that game was. I can't imagine dealing with that. But just the game itself, disgusting. You saw it from the opening drive with the Keontae Ingram fumble right after TCU. I didn't hate that we started him, especially considering that Roshan was banged up. Give him the start over Bijan. I totally get that, but dude, he can't fumble. Second play of the game? You can't do that. And then our defense just also came out slow. And granted, we got some turnovers with Rattler, definitely rattled him up. But at the same time, we still gave those receivers space. Mims was making all kinds of beautiful catches. I kept saying to my family that I was watching the game with, I'm like, why don't we have a receiver that can catch like Mims or any of the OU receivers? Like, why don't we have receivers that can make plays, just start of the game was bad. End of the game was bad. We didn't show up until 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, like we have been doing for the past couple games, which is embarrassing and doesn't make any sense at all to me. Third through fourth quarter was horrible. We could not even get a first down, and then our defense began to buckle and just fall apart. Special teams was dog crap. Everything. I mean, the entire thing was so bad. This was like the worst Red River game that I've watched. I mean, it was very similar compared to last year. Last year's was even more boring, but at least with that, our defense made it interesting.
Yeah.
Our defense did not make it interesting. I mean, I guess with those turnovers, but that was definitely more on Rattler than it was us. And then when Mordecai came in, dude was driving the ball down the field like it was an upgrade, and that can't happen. That can't happen. It can't be a seamless plug and play.
Yeah. So, should be blood in the water for our defense.
Yeah. And you can't have a guy in Rattler who came into the game confident, clearly lost all of that confidence, all of it, gone. He's benched. Comes back in the second half, dude's balling out. That shows me that he has zero fear of our team. Zero, none, no big deal. Cotton Bowl, no big deal, no sweat. And then the way that they played us in overtime, you can argue with both teams, like, why didn't neither of them go for 2 sooner and have to wait all the way until the third to start doing it because they were mandated to? To me, on the Texas's side, it shows that we were scared to go for 2, which is pathetic. I think we should have went for 2, maybe even before. I mean, I can argue not going for 2 at the end of regulation, even though I really wanted to, because I'm like, let's not get into overtime with Lincoln Riley. But the fact that we didn't until we had to, I think was pathetic. It shows just how scared we are and how timid our coaching staff is. And then for Oklahoma, to me, it shows me that they aren't scared of us, which they aren't. They aren't scared of us, and they have no reason to be. And they just kept going overtime by overtime, easily getting into the end zone.
Yeah. this game going into multiple overtimes seems to have a lot of people fooled into thinking this was a good game. It's like the curse of like A&M playing LSU, and it's just like, oh, we took them to 7 overtimes, man. It's not a good thing. Like, why don't you want to end this in regulation? Like, I don't understand. Like, why do we have to start playing well when we're down 2 scores and we have to drive down the field? Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of what Trevor said. I'm sick and tired of the sloppiness and the slow starts and the penalties. Like, you're a veteran team now. Like, there's experience. There's on this team. There's on every level. And we make mistakes at every level. The defense is gonna, like I said last week, this is just how it's gonna be. We sacrifice we've sacrificed our defense for Sam to have even more amazing stats this year. So, and we're just gonna have to rely on him to bail us out for the rest of the year. That's all it's gonna be. They can't tackle and they can't stay healthy. I mean, you saw flashes of good things from like Osai and Overshown, but it's just not enough to overcome like the structural problems of every level on this team. It's just embedded in complacency all over. It's all highly recruited guys playing on talent instead of what we're supposed to develop into, and you could just see it. You can just see it. I don't like attacking players because they're kids and like my age too, but I'm like, you got to criticize how they're playing and acting on the field, celebrating when you give up monster. Granted,
First down, baby.
Exactly, yeah.
Stop the touchdown from happening, even though it was a 20-yard gain.
I mean, granted, you did your job. You're the last line of defense, but you shouldn't be happy that it had to come to that. Like, I don't know. I never understood that. You can point to a myriad of distractions. Some people say Longhorn Network. Some people say the protesting they do. But like, regardless if those even exist, the problems are still there. So like, even if you got rid of Longhorn Network, I don't think they'd magically start playing better. You know what I mean? So yeah, those are my initial thoughts. It's really just us relying on Sam to do heroics at the end of games, and that's not fair to him. Because we were supposed to have everything ironed out by this year, and it looks like we're in the same spot we have been the last 3 years. So yeah, those are my initial thoughts.
Yeah, you mentioned Sam had to bail us out. What really makes me mad about this game is RJ Young was just trashing Sam before the game on YouTube, just like he's just an average quarterback, fullback, and he pretty much proved him right this game. He did not show up, at least throwing wise,
No,
at
he
all.
did.
He was missing open receivers. He was rattled. He was sitting in the pocket looking at the pass rush.
A little scared.
It was the first time in a long time we've seen Sam look like he can't throw like he did as a freshman, which sucked. And a lot of that's on our receivers. Our receivers did not help him out at all.
No.
But, yeah, I mean, RJ Young was proven right, and he made all of us look like fools trying to hype up Sam. And you know Sam will bounce back. He's great, but he's got to play better against OU. That's 2 years in a row now, and probably his last time playing OU. So, yeah, that really sucks to see. And all the Sooners that hate Sam, they got the last laugh, which really sucks because they always trash Sam. And I mean, he went 1-4 against Oklahoma, same as Tom Herman's record. But, yeah, also on the game, the thing that stood out to me was just the penalties. Like you said, the lack of discipline. All the like you said, flexing after the 20-yard gain we've given up. That happened like 5 times.
But like,
and then
like noticeably,
every
like,
tackle,
we're down. We're down, and they're driving on us right now.
Yeah.
And then Chris Brown went on Twitter and started arguing with a former player who's starting in the NFL, Omenahu, about it. Like what is our team? There's no discipline, no leadership.
They're in the same class.
Dude, I saw.
Why is there bad blood between classes like that? To me, that doesn't make any sense.
Like,
right?
Yeah.
Off the game, and we got like players posting like, "This is just what I do."
Yeah. You talking trash, I'll smack you.
Lost, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, and then the Kerstetter penalty was just we got the ball at the 1 yard line, 4th and 1. about to go in, and Kerstetter comes in like 15 minutes late and just
knocked
hits
him
some
over.
dude in the back, and then Tom Herman goes in the press conference saying, Kerstetter thought the play was still going. If you watch it, that's a tight rope to watch. Like, no, Herman, that was clearly, blatantly just not needed. That was just
Not needed at
like,
all.
you think we're stupid listening to you talk? Like, we would believe what you're saying? Like, oh, we thought the play was still going. We thought Sam was still up. Dude, it was like 10 seconds after, and it wouldn't even affect the play. It wasn't even in the pile. It was some dude outside the pile.
Yeah, the guy was looking into the pile. We nailed him. Okay.
Yeah, like, Herman, okay, Mensa, like, calm down. But yeah, and then just so many penalties, holding penalties, false start penalties, a couple, like, many drives killed because of penalties, and just we've regressed. I mean, go back and watch 2018 Texas against Oklahoma, against even middle of road teams.
Better.
We were pushing piles. We came out with passion, energy, playing fast. We were physical. We'd set the tone for physical. We were the most physical team in the Big 12 that year. This year, we come out and just let these teams walk all over us till it's absolutely too late. Then we play hard and get it back in and narrowly lose or win on an onside kick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we are not – these are the same players. These are upperclassmen, like top 5 classes, top 5 composite talent, and it's getting worse. And recruiting is getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
It's year 4. Like, it's just – the writing is pretty much on the wall at this point. And, yeah, what do you got, Trevor?
In regards to the team, or do we want to transition into argument against Tom Herman?
You got any more on the Oklahoma game? I mean, we get into positives. There were a couple positives, like player by player, that we saw. Not much, though.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the Sam Ellinger heroics were definitely kind of the good part of the game, but that was all mostly on the ground instead of through the air. Osai played big. He definitely got, had a few sacks. I believe he had a couple, as well as some good tackles. I mean, dude's pretty much he's the one guy on our defense that, plays well. I'm assuming he's going to leave for the NFL draft, even though I don't think he's going to be drafted high at all, which is a shame because we're such a garbage team. At this point, I see him probably going in maybe the 3rd round, maybe later than that. Even though he's so talented. So again, we're going to fail in that regard. And then for Overshown flashed, but overall it wasn't a beautiful game. BJ Foster was looking good in the first quarter, and then he fell apart. I don't know what happened there. I guess Dicker had a good game, but again, that doesn't matter if our special teams can't block for him. And got his kick blocked. I think that's it.
Yeah,
that's the only good play that I saw. Maybe Bijan.
Whittington.
Whittington definitely deserves a mention.
Yeah, that looked nice.
For showing up. Yeah, finally a complete game from him. That's probably the only reason that we're excited about it, though, is because it was a full game. He very well could do that every game, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But yeah, nice to see. It's been a minute. So, but outside that, just about everything else in this game was bad. Our receivers can't get open.
It was every level. They
have no effort. They don't. Their effort is garbage. Our O-line is absolute trash. I don't get it. I think they're regressing. I mean, Herb Hand shouldn't have a job right now, in my opinion.
Yeah,
the recruiting fails.
A lot of these coaches, like, we keep on firing coordinators, position coaches. Like, at a certain point, it's just the whole tree is bad. So
it's the head.
Pretty bad. Like, yeah.
Quit cutting off the limbs and just chop off the head and end it.
He has rot in it, bro.
Yeah.
One thing I want to point out is every game, it seems like now, but especially in the Cotton Bowl the last couple of years, you see OU coming down that tunnel. All their players are like hyped. They're all jumping, like talking trash, like so hyped. And our players come down, they're just standing there, not even jumping.
It didn't used to be that way either. Like Charlie's players were hyped. I always remember that. I was like, wow, I even though we're
Feel the lack of
a
energy.
horrible team, at least this game's going to be close because Charlie has these guys ready. And I think Tom Herman, like his first 2 years of the Red River game, they were pretty hyped. And then after last year, for whatever reason, it was just like walking down the tunnel. Ooh, Red River game, no different than any other game. Lies. You got to come out with passion and energy, or you're going to get boat raced in this game.
It used to be where Tom Herman wasn't great all the time, but we could count on him to show up in big games, call him Big Game Tom, like cover the spread. He probably covered the spread. I don't even know what the spread was when it ended, but
It was 2.
no, he didn't.
So
he didn't cover the spread. But anyways, he did, like, we come out, like, ever since the LSU 2018 game when we lost that heartbreaker, like, everything seems like it shifted in this program. Because we had, like, some like linear, looks like we were developing and improving, and ever since we lost that game and then OU last year, it's just been straight downhill. There's just no energy. Like, it feels like something's off about everything. Everything.
It's like players aren't believing in the program, and then the program itself isn't like really inspiring hope. So it's just stagnant.
Yeah. At least with the games, which is all that matters. I mean, we hear about in practice, like, oh,
That's great, man.
Team's got, great Sunday practice, or this team's camaraderie, or like the players are tweeting about how much they love their team and how they're gelling and getting along and got the best quarterback in the country. And, like, it's all this positive stuff. But if it's not translating into the game, does it really matter? Like, yeah.
No, it doesn't.
All right, so the reality is Tom Herman is on very thin ice right now, and if we drop another game, he's probably done. He might already be done, just based on what I've been doing a lot of trying to uncover as much as I can. And yeah, it seems like he's in a really bad spot. I mean, with Baylor, Oklahoma State, Kansas,
we're gonna drop one of those.
I was like, at least one.
We're not sweeping the rest of the season.
No, we're not. We're a bad football team.
There's got to be at least two losses.
It might spiral. We might end up losing like 4 of the last 6 games.
Lose to Kansas. This is the year.
Yeah, at Kansas, count on us to show up and make that a game. That's going to be a game in the fourth quarter at Kansas.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It is every year.
The Kansas of 2 years ago, or whatever it was. It was like just too close, even for them being at home.
Last season, yeah.
Oh, even last season too. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, this whole Herman thing, like, the only reason he has a job right now is because of the big buyout. If he didn't have that, he might have gotten fired after this game, honestly, considering how embarrassing it was. Probably not, because you don't see that a lot with college coaches, but definitely by the end of the season, you'd know that he'd have it coming. Yeah, I mean, that buyout's really the only thing holding him up, and to me, it's just like a slow death,
He's not CDC's guy, so.
Is he not? No, I guess no, CDC really, no, he's not.
Well, I'm talking
CDC
about
didn't make that hire, but
yeah, he didn't make that hire. But I mean, it could be friends.
They are buddies because they go back to Rice together.
All right, fair enough.
And I mean, CDC
I always
threw
thought
him.
CDC had like a hire in his back pocket. Like,
yeah, no, he threw Tom that bone right at the beginning of his second year. That's what his extension, which even though he was doing, I guess, well at that point, I'm still like, well, you don't need to give it to him yet. Like, he's got a few more years before his contract ends. You don't have to, in the second year, already extend it.
Need a more prove a year. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So you said the buyouts was preventing us. I don't think it's preventing us too much. I think if we lose to Oklahoma State or Baylor in like bad fashion, I can see him pulling the plug. I don't know if it'd be done mid-season, but the big money donors are very upset, and the little money donors like myself and Matt Madrid were very upset too.
The small dollar donors are not very happy right
now. Y'all are donors?
Yeah, No.
tuition.
But-
Student loans.
Tuition.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is a good time. I wanted to touch on like my whole spiel with Herman, and for me, it's just as a Texas fan, it's kind of like, what are your expectations? I hear a lot of arguments comparing to Herman to other coaches, and one of them, a big one that comes up, is Dabo, and it's like, oh, what if Clemson pulled the plug on Dabo before he could reach his potential? Look at them now. It took 7 years or so to even become nationally relevant and whatnot, and build his program. And while that's all true, I don't think the comparison is apples to apples, or even in the same category. Just because what Dabo inherited was just a bad football team in the ACC that no one really. I mean, college football people, we know of Clemson, but like the average person doesn't know of Clemson like they know of Alabama or something like that, or even Texas for that matter. But Dabo had to literally build a program from the bottom floor. He had to scrape every recruiting class and make sure he developed every player he had to build to the next recruiting class. When Tom Herman came here, we had the players, we had the recruiting infrastructure, we had the infrastructure of Texas football, just the institution itself. Like it's supposed to be plug and play here. Like it really is. Like recruiting classes and talent translate to wins. Like that across the board. This is what happens. Top teams in the recruiting rankings win. And for some reason, we just can't win, and that's very alarming because that means it's a culture thing, it's a system thing, it's those in charge, it's a thing, because we have more than what Clemson had when compared to when they were at their bottom. So I that's why there's a shorter leash with Herman. And then secondly, going back to your expectations, it's like, okay, Herman told us we're going to be – like the goal was Big 12 championships. I agree. Now, the expectation for me at least, and I know for us and a lot of people we know, is Big 12 contending with a shot at the playoff. You know what I mean? We're not begging for national championships. We're begging just to win the Big 12 or at least be in that game every year. With Herman, you're barely getting a shot at the Big 12 championship, and you're clawing your way through a 3-loss, sometimes 4-loss season, with your best season being a loss in the Big 12 championship and a win against Georgia. And don't get me wrong, like that win against Georgia is good and all, but like there's arguments to make. Like Georgia was not into it and whatnot. But yeah. All those, like, there's no outright wins for us under Herman, and for Clemson, it's uphill trajectory, and then with Herman, it's like flat. So, what are your expectations? Are your expectations just to fight and claw to get to the Big 12 championship? Like, if we're gonna do that, well, then we should just stuck with strong, or we should just stick with
exactly.
It's like you're flat right now. Like, we're not asking for the world. Texas football has the facilities and has the resources to contend and be in the Big 12 championship with OU every year, and that's the way it should be. And if you're defending Herman at this point, you need to adjust your expectations. That's what I think about it.
Yeah, and that's a good point. People will say, I saw on Twitter, people were saying, why are expectations so high? Besides the MAC era, we've only won like 7 conference championships in the last 40 years. Like, what did Clemson do the last 40 years? Like, we're way more decorated historically than Clemson. And look at them right now. I don't know what that notion is, that we've had a bad, like, stretch in the 80s and 70s that we can't go hire Urban Meyer right now and go win right now.
It doesn't hold us back from right now.
Yeah. We have
and on paper, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because take the talent.
And even then in the 80s and 70s, we were still winning conference championships, and we're maybe not always in the top 5, but There were definitely
Yeah,
years
man.
of that. At least once in a decade, we were in the top 5, contending for a national championship. This past decade, we've been like maybe this close to having a shot at winning the Big 12 championship. And the
A
Big
shot
12's been
at the
down.
Big 12 when it's been down, and OU is going to be the weakest it's been in
Yeah.
like 5 years. Like
Yep.
they're not going to. This is as bad as they get, man. This is
Yeah.
as bad as they get.
They're
Like,
all coming back next year.
They're all
Every one
coming
of them.
back, man. Like,
Mhm. Yep.
And they had like half like their best player, Ronnie Perkins, out, Trajan Bridges, Ramondre Stevenson. That was like arguably like almost their B team out there.
and they made sloppy mistakes too. They made
Oh, funny.
Stogner drops a ball that ends the game, and that's the only reason we're in overtime. Like, how much more of an opportunity you want? Like, it's not going to get any harder or easier than this. Easy.
Kicker missed a kick. That was to win the game. Horribly.
How many more opportunities do you want?
Yeah.
It's year 4, bro. Like this is ridiculous.
Poor man. Great. The only thing that saves Herman this year is a trip to the Big 12 championship, and I'm not holding my breath for that, man. I'm sorry.
No, that's not happening.
Sorry. And I know what's going to happen.
We're too far in.
We keep him next year, I guarantee you this continues.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be right back in the same spot next year.
And then with a new quarterback, too. Like,
yeah.
You're ready.
If y'all want to keep Herman, just get ready to go lose that Arkansas next year in Week 2 by 30 points because he's not going to have us ready for that game, and that'll just be embarrassing, our old rival Arkansas. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, everything points to just doing it now because 2021 recruiting has been horrible, like the worst I've seen since I followed recruiting the non-transition class. So we should make this a transition class because if we wait a year, give Herman another year to save like $6 million out of the buyout because we have to pay that buyout next year regardless too. We'll save $6 million. If we wait, we'll make 2022 the class with Quinn Ewers, the transition class. And that class is so with so much potential, so many like built-in advantages for that class for Texas. And if we end up firing Herman in November next year with signing day the following month, you think Quinn Ewers and all those good Texas prospects are going to – like there's so many 5-stars out of Texas next year. Like it just makes sense. He's got to fire him now and just start the rebuild with Urban Meyer. That's just what should happen. That's the solution. That is the solution.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's not in terms of this season, yeah, we're not as much as we all hope as Longhorn fans as we do with every game that, they're going to bounce back and recover, or like, the season's only like a third of the way through. Like we still can, maybe even half at this point. Has it been about little less than halfway through? Newsflash, after this far into a season, a team's not going to change. We saw it last year. I mean, when we, after the LSU game, and then we lost to OU, the TCU debacle was bad. All of that, we're not going to recover. I say we're going to lose at least 2 more games this season.
Yeah.
And all the other games are going to be close. Not saying it's not possible. It certainly can happen. I would just be really surprised.
I'd be amazed.
And even then, like I don't know if we went undefeated, for the rest of the season and won the Big 12 championship, I still don't feel good about keeping Herman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at next year with what to expect and the recruiting classes and the culture and just everything is trending down.
Yeah, it's institutional, man. Like it's scary. It's scary how it's just the culture is just not. It's not on the same page of what the fans want and what expectations are. It just doesn't seem serious enough. I don't know. It doesn't seem serious enough.
Yeah. Urban Meyer even said last week after we lost to TCU, we'll see the culture of the University of Texas and Tom Herman, that program, on display against OU. They're going to bounce back from that TCU game or mail it in. against like their rival, like
their rival.
And we did more than mailed it in. We rolled out something I'd never seen before since like maybe Charlie Strong. Like that was probably one of the worst Herman games I've seen. And like you said, us bouncing back and running the table, it would have started with OU. OU was the time to get that bounce back going.
Like would have started with TCU after the Tech game. It would have been like, oh, that's our wake up call. Like, oh shit, we we need to get everything together. But no, it's been a continuation of the same. Those past 3 games have all been the same thing. But even in those games, at least we came out okay. This we came out horribly. But it was like, come out good, completely give up, play like absolute garbage. Oh, wait, we need to win this game. Let's scurry back and try our hardest with like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Just kidding. We want to play now.
Yep.
Right.
No.
Yeah, everything is messed up right now with this football team and program.
Yep.
So
coordinators. Did we get new coordinators? Who is Mike Yersich?
Who is this guy? Has he shown up?
Does he exist?
Does he exist? Or was it just Herman the whole time?
I think Herman's taking over the play calls. I do. This isn't the Yersich offense that they were talking about.
It doesn't look that much different.
It doesn't.
Like when the Cowboys were like, oh, we got a new coach. It looks different now. Looks the same. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I feel bad, man. We just like brought Chris Ash and Tom and Mike Yersich onto a sinking ship, and I don't know what Jay Boulware's doing from OU. He's an OU implant. I know he played at Texas, but I'm convinced he came here to sabotage.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Be a fucking spy, bro.
Yeah, our special teams are horrible, like worst I've seen in my life at Texas. But yeah, poor position coaches like Jay Valai. I mean, Jay Valai's done well, but everybody else not doing too hot, and they probably have to move again real quick after moving to Austin. A 1-year stint in Austin. That's what it's looking like, unless they can rattle off 7 wins in a row.
Yeah.
All right, so with Tom Herman looking like his job is very fragile at the moment, it would be dumb not to talk about who his replacement could be. And I think, and pretty much a lot of Longhorn Nation thinks, like the conversations should start and end with Urban Meyer. I mean, this dude is a proven commodity. It's exactly what we need to reverse this poisoned program the last 10 years. He's got 3 national championships, multiple conference titles. I don't even know how many, but both in the SEC and the Big Ten, the 2 premier conferences. And we need someone that can handle a job like Texas. And he's coached at one blue blood, Ohio State, which is more successful than us historically, and Florida, another giant program. We got staff on the roster that he's on the team that he's familiar with. He's coached with Chris Ash. He loves Chris Ash. Save money there. He's got no buyout. It just makes so much sense to hire Urban Meyer. And it comes down to, people will talk about, is Texas serious about winning? Because if Texas is serious about winning, we go buy out Herman and we go hire Urban Meyer. Just look what A&M did. I mean, they got serious about winning. They went from what we did, Kevin Sumlin, Tom Herman, Houston up-and-comers, Houston coaches, Houston Cougars. Yeah. And they said, no, we're sick of that. Let's go buy Jimbo Fisher from Florida State, which is a big-time program. And they $75 million. I mean, that's still ridiculous, but I mean,
a deal, but like they put it all on the table. Like,
yeah, they're serious. He's not the cleanest coach either. Like Urban has some baggage.
Yeah,
nothing like Art Briles level at all. But I mean, you got to go hire. Like if you want to win, you got to go get Urban Meyer. I mean, there's other candidates out there that people like. Like I personally like Mario Cristobal from Oregon, but he's coached like 2 years as a head coach, same as Tom Herman did before he got here. And I mean, James Franklin I like too, but he has like a whole rape scandal at Vanderbilt that nobody seems to care about. I mean, you got to hire coaches to win, but it's just funny how Urban Meyer, people will be like, oh God, he's a scumbag, he did whatever.
Yeah.
But then like James Franklin, like he has skeletons in the closet too. Like a lot of these coaches are not
They're
Boy
not
Scout leaders. Like they're just hired to like lead
they're
football programs.
politicians of some of the biggest names in college football. Like that's just yeah.
Right, exactly. And so I just pray that our big money donors and Jay Hartzell, Chris Del Conte are aligned because I've been taking the temperature of the fan base as much as I can, and it seems like probably about 90% of the fans are really, especially after the OU game, a lot of fans switched over from anti-urban to pro-urban. So like now on message boards, I'm seeing literally like zero anti-urban action. It's all pro-urban action. So I'm just hoping that Del Conte will make a big boy hire and go make it happen. I don't know if he wants to coach again, but I would imagine he does. He's only 56 years old. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to talk about urban because I think that's really a serious option that we need to explore, and I'm sure most of y'all agree. What do y'all think, Matt and Trevor, about urban and other candidates that y'all may like?
Yeah, I mean, Urban's the one stop for me. I would love that. That would be the ultimate, like, okay, like, if this ship can't get turned around with this guy, well, I ain't getting turned around for a lifetime. So, that you'll really know at that point. I mean, you'll really know. I just like Urban because he's proven that he just takes control of programs and steers them in the right direction. He just makes he just at every level he makes sure there's excellence and makes sure that everyone's on the same page. He's a leader. He's a good coach. I don't know what else to say. Like it's proven. And I'm tired of taking shots on coaches that are just like we're their prove it their prove it team. I'm tired of the experiments. Um, granted, I personally think having getting Urban is a long shot just because the amount of people that would be upset about it. And I don't know if CDC wants that smoke. Um,
I
yeah,
don't think he
I
does.
want him, but yeah, I want him, but I'm not holding my breath either. We were talking about like Brett Venables and guys like that. I really like Brett Venables just because like a defensive minded coach and letting someone else run the offense sounds pretty nice. Um, yeah, I wouldn't say I know too much about like the other candidates because I stopped paying attention to the experiment coaches. So yeah, I'm Urban or just take a chance on someone's really good coordinators. What do you think, Trevor?
Yeah, I mean, Urban's kind of the obvious first choice. I mean, for so many reasons. For one, proven guy. Dude's probably on the he is on the Mount Rushmore of like modern college coaches. You got him and Saban as 1 and 2 essentially. Won national championships in multiple schools. Um, like I feel bad because if we get Urban Meyer, Tom Herman's literally he's not going to be the same man again. Dude's gonna for the rest of his life he's gonna be like, yeah, I coached at my dream school, failed, and then my boss that hates the crap out of me went and took my job and then won natties. So I feel really bad for him if that happens, but I
Yeah,
mean you got to win. That's the that's what comes with the
it is
job.
business, man.
Yeah, that's business. But anyway, on the topic of Urban, yeah, you got that. It's going to be the same schemes, so that one won't affect recruiting as much. It's not like we have to get entirely different talent. They got the players that they need to fulfill the scheme that they likely would run. Coaches, probably could keep Chris Ash, and I'm sure he's familiar with all those other coaches that Tom Herman was because they're from the same tree essentially. Um, Recruiting also, a lot of people are like, oh, you should always try hiring a Texas coach for the University of Texas, being that for high school recruiting and such. And I get that. But with Urban Meyer, dude recruited Texas as well as
I was about to
any
say,
other Texas coach. In the past probably what 5-10 years, maybe not 10 years, but at least the past 5, Ohio State has just picked whoever they wanted out of the state. You had JT Barrett, you had JK Dobbins, you had I mean the list goes on and on. Garrett Wilson out of Austin.
yeah.
I mean all the
Okuda.
best. Yeah, all the best
Buddha,
players
bro. Oh,
out of Texas
they're so
come
good.
here, and from the whole country. So, I mean, California, Florida, you name it. Even be interesting to see if like Ohio kids start coming to Texas if Urban Meyer comes. So yeah, from the standpoint of recruiting, scheme, coaching, there's going to be continuity in all those, and just proven guy. We haven't had a proven guy. I mean, since Mac, and I guess Mac wasn't even really a proven guy when he came in, but that dude was red hot and clearly is, notably one of the, definitely in the Hall of Fame of college football coaches. So yeah, it's the obvious home run slam dunk. It's no different than us trying to get Saban back in probably 2010, 2011 when we were talking about that. 2011, I think.
Feels more real as that, but I get the same vibes of like this is just not happening.
Yeah,
It's too good to be true.
I'm sick of taking flyers on these new guys that come in, and the job I think is just a little too big for them, which is okay. Like it's okay to admit that, hey, this Texas job is different and it's difficult and it's really hard. In fact, I think it's good that we start expressing that instead of hiding from it and just saying like, oh, we can get this newcomer to come in and maybe that's what we need, a fresh new guy. I disagree. I think this is one of the hardest jobs in the country, and we should get the most experienced, the most qualified guy that you can get in here because it's clearly not easy. And yeah, he's just the guy for it. And do I love, the skeletons in his closet? No. I mean, obviously nobody does, but you can find dirt on just about any college football coach. They're not all as Matt Myers said, they're not Boy Scout leaders. They're football coaches. So, yeah, he's the obvious choice. I mean, other ones that I can think of that I'd like, I mean, it's not going to happen, but getting Shanahan in would be – Kyle Shanahan from the 49ers would be epic just because he's so, a brilliant offensive mind, a Texas alum, a Texas player, hell, even from the state coaching family with his father and himself, plenty of NFL experience. So he obviously knows talent and scheme and the X's and O's. And also comes across as just a chill dude. Like even though it'd be interesting to see how he recruits and how he coaches college guys, he's always seemed to have a very youthful personality, in my opinion, from the interviews I've seen of him. But I don't know if we'd be able to get him out of the NFL, nor could probably afford him. But at the same time, we're Texas and we're talking about Urban Meyer, so money shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, I mean, those are the two that come to mind. Venables would obviously be great, but I don't know if we should go with a defensive coach in the Big 12. We did that with Charlie, and I don't know if that was the best idea to begin with. You got to go offense, offensive mind. I mean, I'd love Graham Harrell would be cool, but he's not ready for it yet. He needs to have more experience under his belt. So maybe one day, I know he's going to be a head coach at some point. He's like the upcoming Kingsbury, Lincoln Riley, from the Leach family tree. So he's definitely going to be someone that, you should have your eye on for the next few years, but definitely not ready yet. So those are the candidates I think of, but obviously Urban's the clear number one that you just need to hammer that guy, in my opinion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. I really hope it could happen, but like you said, I don't have the most faith in our administration, but yeah, I mean, I was just thinking back to the game Saturday and Urban Meyer. Just watch. This is like kind of off topic, but just watching Tom Herman on the sideline, like after mistakes, just chewing on his gum, just no passion,
Hunched over,
no fire. Yeah,
disgusted.
Scared. Yeah, horrible body language, horrible leadership. And then I went and watched Ohio State versus Alabama, 2014 Sugar Bowl, and no penalties at all from Ohio State, just so disciplined. And then Urban's out there yelling, just like lighting a fire
Vargas.
under his players' butts
Yeah.
the entire game. Like it's just so just whole different classes in coaching and program, like just the way they run their programs and carry themselves. So yeah, I mean, it'd be great to have them.
Yeah,
Agreed.
absolutely. And yeah, I mean it just it seems to work too. Like it fits, in my opinion, with the the notoriety that Urban brings, and pairing that with the Texas brand would be sweet.
Yeah, I mean, financially too, there's no buyout really for Urban Meyer. You have to pay out like his Fox contract probably, which is like not even $500,000 a year. So yeah, you get him on sale. You're not paying 20 million, 30 million like you'd have to pay to buy out James Franklin from Penn State after buying out Tom Herman. Then you start the James Franklin contract. So it'd be just give him like 5 years, like $8 million, whatever it takes. It doesn't even need to be a long. Just let him get a whole cycle of his players in, just 4 or 5 years of his players.
Yeah,
create his infrastructure, and then he can go off and retire to help.
exactly. And it may just be a short stint. It wouldn't shock me if it is. I mean, that's what he did with Ohio State, I believe, is it wasn't even that long of a stint, but that's all you need.
The infrastructure's there, and it's good now.
Right.
Yeah, look at them now.
Yeah, no different. So it's more just someone to completely revitalize the program and hand off the reins to the next offensive genius in the wings. The only reason why Texas has this weird not mentality, but like I guess it would be mentality that I always hear about that has to do with like us having pride, and it's this weird system of like checks and balances where we don't want to come across as a school that's desperate ever. We always want to be like the calm, cool, collected, balanced school where we balance our athletics with our academics. Like we always want to be compared to more of like a Stanford over a Texas A&M, just because we mentioned them already. We're not bending and breaking just to, do athletics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get why that culture is there. I mean, maybe I do, because I guess we are a pretty good academic school.
It's always going to be like that, though.
But the nation doesn't view you that way. The nation views Texas as like, oh, Texas has all this money. Why does Texas never, money whip someone or buy this, buy that? They should just be spending money left and right. We could. Texas has the money, the ability to spend money like crazy and, flaunt their wallet, but we choose not to. We're always just very conservative and very balanced and try to look as squeaky clean as we can. And I don't think it hasn't resulted in wins in the past 10 years.
You want to have a good football team.
Yep. Sometimes you just got to play the game, man.
Ask yourself, man.
Gotta hop in.
As soon as there's an opening in the SEC, like Bama, let's say Nick Saban retires, they're gonna just bring like a big truck full of cash to Nick Saban's doorstep.
Yeah. Same
with Georgia, all these schools. Yeah. And like I'm glad you brought up the academics, because we claim that we're like the Harvard. We're not an SEC school. We prioritize academics and integrity first.
Right.
Okay, that's great. Why are we in the Big 12 then? Because we are in the worst academic conference in the country.
Right?
Yeah.
Oklahoma State, Texas
Pac-12.
Tech, Kansas State, West Virginia. The list goes on. All these terrible academic schools. So if we think we're such a big bad, like on our high horse, like we should go to the Pac-12 and just go play in empty stadiums and focus on academics. Which, I mean, academics are very important. Obviously, we all went to UT, but I don't know why they can't make big boy hires and have good academics. I don't know why they have to.
The academics is always going to be there. Like,
yeah.
It's the one constant thing about UT. So, like, just go for it. Just go for it.
Yeah.
All right.
Please try.
I mean, a winning program always result. I mean, that feeds off of everything.
It'll pay for itself.
I mean, if you watched that 30 for 30, the U documentaries, you see how a winning Miami team just completely transformed the entire, not just the city of Miami, but the University of Miami became what it is because of the football program.
Yeah.
Because that bleeds into the hype, and then people want to go to, Miami just because the team's doing well, and people are talking about Texas all the time. Like, I mean, think back to 2005 and everything with Vince Young. Like, Texas was constantly in conversation. I wasn't a Texas fan at that point, and I hated Texas only because everyone was constantly talking about Texas. Everyone was wearing Longhorn shirts. Everyone was, talking about Vince Young for, every single day. So it's advantageous to just go all in and have a good team. Obviously, you want to keep some level of integrity. You don't want to be a Louisville or anything like that, a Penn State previous. But, I just think you need to go all in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's proven whenever your football program's winning big, like applications to universities go up like drastically. So, I mean, we'd even lower our acceptance rate to even lower, under 30%, which would be cool. But yeah, I thought they could go hand in hand very well. So yeah, I don't understand. All right, boys, anything else y'all want to get off y'all's chest before we
No, I
head
said
on out?
peace.
Yeah, this was a nice therapy session. That's pretty much what this was.
Thanks for hearing me out.
This was probably our most unstructured
No.
Texas Platinum video, but obviously ourselves, and I'm sure all of y'all watching have so many thoughts going through your head, so many feelings on your heart that you just need to release. So that's kind of what this video was, and hopefully y'all enjoy it for that reason. Do you have anything, Myers?
No, I'm just going to say, y'all go ahead and comment who y'all want as our next head coach, because I really doubt we'll see anybody saying give Herman more time. It's pretty much the consensus is it's probably the end of the road for Herman. So, yeah, just go comment. Just comment, like, questions, too. Like, like if y'all have questions, we'd love to answer them. So,
yeah,
give us all that good stuff. We'll be back next week with hopefully the Baylor game happens. I mean, Baylor has, like, they can't control – well, I don't know what they're doing.
I don't think they want to play this season. They should just they've forfeited so many, not forfeited, but postponed so many games. It's going to, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It feels like Herman needs that game to happen, though, because if we don't play Baylor, we go straight to at Oklahoma State. Oof, that's going to be
yikes.
Could be 3 losses in a row. So, yeah. All right, well, we'll see y'all next week. Please like and subscribe, like I said. It really helps us out. And appreciate y'all. Even in the suck days, hook 'em, baby. We'll be back pretty soon.